July will go down in history as a month that marked a major shift in Kenya's political landscape. During this period, anti-government protests were infiltrated by goons allegedly aiming to overthrow President Ruto's administration. Interior CS K24 made these revelations while testifying before the National Assembly Committee on Administration and Internal Security.
So that contextualization is extremely important. And Chair, I will not pretend, as the country's security minister, I hold the very strong view that for this country to remain sustainable and for our democracy to function, we must, within the Constitution, make sure that the institutions established under our Constitution are protected. Because if we overthrow constitutional institutions like parliament, judiciary, the executive, we have no country. The things we are discussing here, we will not have even this discussion where a parliamentary committee is grilling the security minister, because the country will not be there in the first place. So that is the first contextual matter I wanted to bring. And it is not true to argue or to submit that the police officer cannot use force.
Kindiki revealing that senior government officials will soon be charged for financing the protests. The CS insisted that the government will not allow a repeat of the chaos witnessed during those months. He emphasized that those responsible for torching a section of parliament had not only planned to cause destruction, but also had intentions of killing and wreaking havoc on government institutions. He further noted that a second attempt to burn down parliament was thwarted.
Those characters who came to parliament were not coming for fun. Many of you members were there. They were not coming for fun. They were coming to burn down parliament and kill people, basically. They were not coming to demonstrate and ask for the finance bill not to be passed. They were coming to cause grave harm. In fact, 2 days after that event, after we frustrated the effort to burn down parliament and kill members, we arrested a suspect at 4 a.m. outside parliament carrying fuel, intending to go and raise down the premises of parliament.
Despite widespread public criticism of police actions during the protest, Kindiki defended the police, arguing that their use of force was justified to maintain order and prevent a larger crisis. He disputed the death toll reported by human rights groups, which claimed 61 lives were lost, instead stating that 42 Kenyans died during the anti-government protests from June to August.
As I have said, the number of those who died is 42. I can say this without fear of contradiction. The fact that somebody has died through a bullet where police officers were trying to control a crowd is not conclusive proof that that person has been killed by a police officer.
Brian Amoai, K24.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has condemned the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, for pressing charges against his allies, calling it a malicious scheme aimed at linking him to the violent Gen Z demonstrations. Gachagua further claims that this move is an attempt to tarnish his reputation and lay the groundwork for an impeachment motion. Among those implicated are Embakasi North Member of Parliament James Gakuya and Embakasi Central Member of Parliament Benjamin Gadhiru.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigation, DCI, has today sought the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, to approve charges against Embakasi Central Member of Parliament Benjamin Gadhiru with 3 counts of incitement to commit offence, conspiracy to commit a felony, and money laundering. His Embakasi North counterpart James Gakuya is also facing charges of conspiracy to commit a felony alongside former MPs George Theuri and Ngunjiri Wambuga, as well as Pius Munene.
It's a pure and clear witch hunt. And let me tell you, if you are witch hunting the Deputy President, go to him direct. Don't go through the other. The motion is there and it's intended. This is the creation that actually they are trying to look for how they can be able to phrase the impeachment.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, speaking through his Facebook page, dismissed the charges as harassment accusing the DCI of orchestrating an evil plot to ruin his reputation. He also alleged that the move is part of a broader attempt to pave the way for an impeachment motion against him.
People of the mountain are very good people. They are very forgiving, but they don't forget. I appeal to everybody to treat the people of the mountain with kindness, because it's the right thing to do.
Even though it comes to us, we shall face the impeachment to the floor of the House. That is it. And that's how we are going to move it. Anybody who is ready to bring it, bring it. Yes, don't keep listening people. Happen, and we cannot keep threatened.
Meanwhile, the Gikuyu, Embu, Meru and Akamba Gema Association has come to Gachagwa's defense, urging MPs from the region to reject any impeachment motion that may be brought to Parliament.
Elected leaders from Mount Kenya who have been propagating divisive propaganda, A, to cease their attacks on the deputy president forthwith. B, to stop conniving to sponsor an impeachment motion against the deputy president and to drop their mischief forthwith. C, in the event that the threat to sponsor an impeachment motion against His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua is carried out by others, we urge all the elected leaders with roots in Mount Kenya to vote against the motion.
It remains to be seen whether Gachagwa's allies will be arrested and charged, and if the impeachment motion against the deputy president will eventually be tabled in Parliament.
Because we are elected by people like anybody else, and we have a right to serve the people of Kenya. Gachagua has a right. He was constitutionally elected. Yes, and if you think that you must eliminate Gachagua from power, and this is a machination done by the men and women from central Kenya, it's not emanating from anywhere else. So the enemies of Gachagua are the central region members, and nobody else. Well, but I can tell you, they are just getting in the trap of the master, which is okay.
Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Our focus now on matters of education. The ongoing university strike has officially come to an end following a successful agreement between the public university unions and their employers. The negotiations will lead to an increase in monthly basic salaries for university staff, with increments ranging from 7 to 10%. Additionally, the University Academic Staff Union, that is the UASU, will receive a 4% annual salary increment after the implementation of a 2-year collective bargaining agreement, which will be in effect from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. With this resolution, studies are expected to resume in learning institutions, as Anthony Komoi reports.
After 2 weeks of striking and learning disruption in public university institutions, a deal was brokered today.
We have taken the low-hanging fruits. The rest of issues will be completed in 1 month's time.
In a negotiation that lasted nearly 6 hours, representatives from the Interpublic Universities Council Consultative Forum, the Federation of Kenya Employers, and the 3 major university unions, UASU, the Kenya University Staff Union, KUSU, and the Kenya Union of Domestic, Hotels, Educational Institutions, Hospitals and Allied Workers, agreed on salary increments of 7 to 10%.
The union shall immediately call off the industrial action upon the execution of this agreement, and we'll be signing the agreement in front of you right now. Pay the basic monthly salary at the rates advised by the government with the Interministerial Committee as follows. For grades 13, 14 and 15 at 7%, and for grades 10, 11 and 12 at 10%. I want to thank the Minister for Treasury, Honorable Mbadi, for agreeing, and we've consulted him, we've been on phone with him, we've talked with Treasury, with SRC, with everybody who was involved, and we've looked for money, and we've been able to add slightly more money than what was given to enable us to strike this deal.
Additionally, the retirement age for all academic staff, including graduate assistants, assistant lecturers, and tutorial fellows, will be set at 70 years.
Retirement age is set as follows for academic staff. This is for academic staff. 70 years for assistant lecturers graduate assistants, and tutorial fellows. 74 years for lecturers, associate professors, and professors. The retirement age for staff in the teaching laboratories and the university librarians is harmonized and set at 65 years.
Dr. Mutua emphasized that the Labour Ministry will implement mechanisms to address issues before they escalate to serious levels.
I want to thank the union, especially the three SGs here, for being able to be amiable.
Speaking after signing the deal, Dr. Mutua noted that an interministerial committee is scheduled to convene on October 1st, 2024 to resolve any pending issues. Anthony Kwemoi, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has challenged the international community to give priority emerging conflicts around the globe, initiate debt relief plans for developing countries, and urgently move to address climate change. In his second speech at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, the head of state says conflicts and wars have doubled in the last year around the world, dealing a blow to United Nations development agenda. In his speech, Ruto further highlighted Kenya's commitment in pacifying the world while making difference to the deployment of Kenyan police in Haiti through a multinational security mission.
Thank you.
When he took to the podium, President William Ruto had three key issues to tell the international community congregating in New York for the United Nations General Assembly. The scourge of war and conflict, the monster of debt obligations for the Global South, and climate change made the highlights of Dr. Ruto's second speech at the UN.
The new climate financing goal expected at COP29 faces significant hurdles as deep disagreements persist over who should contribute and how much funding is needed. Without swift resolution, these divisions risk derailing our collective progress on climate action, just as the global situation becomes increasingly urgent.
Ruto says wars and conflicts have doubled around the world for the last 1 year, and the international community appear ill-equipped to address. According to the head of state, it's hard to realize development in an atmosphere of conflicts.
Our vision of a world free from nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction is dying incrementally. We must not sit back and leave the future of upcoming generations to fate. We must intentionally rise to the occasion to meet the challenges of our time by reaffirming the core values of the UN Charter.
President Ruto noted Kenya has continued to contribute immensely to world peace, and the intervention in Haiti was yielding hope for the citizens of the Caribbean nation.
We are committed to continuing to mediate, facilitate, and support peace initiatives and processes in our region, contributing to regional peace operations and the UN peacekeeping missions.
At the same time, Dr. Ruto challenged the United Nations Security Council to reconsider Africa's representation in the all-powerful council, saying the continent is underrepresented.
An institution that excludes 54 African countries with 1.4 billion people, while allowing one nation to veto decisions of the remaining 193 member states in the 21st century, is simply unacceptable. We must urgently seek to make the Security Council representative, inclusive, transparent, democratic, effective, and accountable.
In addition, Ruto lamented that many countries in the Global South can barely render crucial services like education and health to their citizens, since they are burdened by the yoke of debt.
While challenges remain, such as resistance to regulating production and banning harmful chemicals, we must push forward with a strong political will to ensure that we succeed. The treaty does not need to ban plastics entirely, but it must regulate production to minimize environmental harm.
On climate change, the president is demanding the international community to match words and treaties with actions to combat the global phenomenon. Timothy Simwa, K24 TV.
We shift gears now to the war against graft. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on Thursday arrested a former Nairobi Lands Registrar for fraudulent activities that saw Agricultural Development Corporation lose 667 acres in fraudulent transfers across the country. EACC raided the home of the suspect Benson in 14-hour siege that targeted 8 suspects with the several documents that aided the activities confiscated. Martin Opio reports.
For a known period of time, Benson Limo, a former land registrar in Nairobi County, is said to have been conducting fraudulent activities that involved acquisition of 667 acres of land totaling to 1.3 billion shillings belonging to Agricultural Development Corporation in Kitale. Unaware that his days were numbered, as Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission was hot on his heel. Early Thursday morning, EACC officials pounded on him, ransacking his home in Nairobi West and Kapenguria in search of evidence following a court order.
The Anti-Corruption Commission confirms that today the Commission has undertaken a successful investigative operation targeting 8 individuals, including land officials and private persons. And this is in relation to fraudulent acquisition of 667 acres of public land worth 1.3 billion in Kitale town.
He is said to be in collusion with advocates and other private individuals.
Conducted an operation that focused on various targets across 6 counties. And these are the counties of Kiambu, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Siaya, and the West Pokot. That operation, which was pursuant to court orders, was contemporaneously undertaken in those 6 counties, targeting 8 individuals, and among them is the suspected chief architect of the scam.
During the operation in his Nairobi residence, the Commission recovered volumes of official land transaction documents believed to be for use in effecting fraudulent land transactions.
I can also confirm that the multiple operations that have taken place across the 6 counties have yielded very important evidentiary material that the Commission will rely on in finalizing the ongoing investigation.
The suspects are believed to be involved in a scheme to transfer government-owned land to private developers illegally, working in tandem with fraudulent individuals to illegally allocate private land belonging to others and allocating the same piece of land to multiple individuals, leading to conflicting land titles and ultimately demolitions.
During the operation at the residence of the chief architect of this scam, that is Ben Limo, the Commission recovered volumes of official land transaction documents, including blank certificates of title, blank green cards, duly processed title documents, very many of them, and stamps of advocates that are believed to be for use in effecting fraudulent land transactions from his home.
For the better part of the day, activities at the Kiambu Lands Registry stalled after EACC made an appearance.
It is unfortunate that today the residents of Kiambu are not able to get services from the Lands Office because when the EACC detectives arrived, all the staff took off.
Land offices everywhere huko kuna hatari, hakuna pali pazuri. Sababu sasa kama hiyo nakwambia ya nilikuwa na tafuta title deed ya mapako iko Machakos. I spent 100,000 to get it.
Ile shida tuko naye ni ukibook umelipia serikali ile pesa inataka, lakini kupata hiyo documents ni shida sana. Unaambiwa gojea mpaka hata wewe unachoka. Unaambiwa kila siku unakuja, unaambiwa haipatikani. Unashindwa na iko huko ndani, iko wapi?
Later in the evening, after the raid that lasted 14 hours in his Nairobi home, detectives frog-marched the suspect to Integrity Center, waiting for arraignment. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
And as promised, today being on a Friday, we review the events of the week. Chief among them is the bid to oust Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president. It's believed more than 200 members have appended their signatures to that motion that could be tabled come next week, Tuesday, by none other than Didmas Baraza, Kimilili Member of Parliament. It's a wait and see whether he will be the one who will table that motion. Remember, he is also a member of the UDA party. This even as 5 Gachagua's allies are facing arrest if the DPP approved the charges that have been recommended by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that is DCI, as far as funding Gen Z protests are concerned. But remember, already the Interior boss, Kithure Kindiki, has said that they're ready with enough evidence to charge them in court. So today, that's where our major focus will be on, even as we touch on matters counties. So far, 3 months into it, they have not received any penny from the equitable share, that is for the financial year 2024-2025. Already in studio, I'm joined by very key guests. That is Dr. John Ndunda, Deputy Secretary General of the Kenya County Government Workers Union, and as well Nudin Kagai, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, set to join us shortly. Will be, that is actually Julia Shege, who is a political analyst. But I also invite you in this conversation via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Chacha, as well on SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of your screens. I'll be glad to sample some of them before wrapping up New Dawn this morning. Stay tuned. Morning, Dr.